We are all, by any practical definition of the words, foolproof and incapable of error.
Great. All right, let's get the second hour underway, folks. It's Friday, the nearly famous Barry Young Show. The Arizona State Fair starts at noon. Hide the livestock. Protect the women.
Take your cholesterol medicine.
Yeah. Okay, let's. If you were listening in the last hour, you know that John McCain is with us in the studios, and you're about to introduce who's with you, and Michelle and I were talking about this yesterday, and I said, well, who's escorting whom? I mean, you know, who's the big cheese here? But you were about to let it out of the bag, so you go right ahead before we...
You know, it's funny how morale of people really, in many ways, is affected by the performance of their sports teams. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is just a fact. And when they win, our spirits are lifted. I'm not sure how much our spirits are lowered when they lose, but that game that game last Sunday lifted my spirits. It lifted the spirits of a lot of people in Arizona who are hurting right now. Really, I mean, to have something they can really root for. And one of the real stars, and person that I've grown to know and admire enormously, and one of the real heroes. By the way, he's going to tell us about, there's an article this morning in the Republic about Deuce Lutui, who weighed in at 396 pounds. But this is a hero who is only about, I'd say, 180, but our star of the Arizona Cardinals, Jay Feely.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Babinski, get off the chair. Sit down.
He's doing the one-man wave.
He really is. It's very embarrassing. Sit down.
It was an amazing game.
Okay, so my question is, who's dragging who around?
Oh, I'm opening the doors. You know, I'm just escorting him in and keeping people away from him.
Oh, gee.
I mean, it's an honor to be here, not only on your show, but especially with Senator McCain, somebody who I've admired for a long time. You know, truly an American hero, and I've said that many times. You know, a guy that is an asset not only to the state of Arizona but to our country, to be in office and to be serving as long as he has, and to continue serving, Senator. You know, when you win re-election here, I'm excited for that.
You see that? You hear that?
Take him everywhere I go.
You hear that? You hear that? Thank God we've got a boost to the sagging campaign here because you're running against what's his name. And
you know what I just heard?
What is that?
I just heard the making of a great politician.
All right, wait a minute. Let me ask you a question now, and I'm being really serious. Yeah. Who's going to burst forth into the political spotlight first, him or Paul Babu? Which one is it?
I think both will be highly competitive.
What do you be, his star maker here?
Look, we've had other people who are athletes who have turned that name recognition into very successful political careers. For example, Jack Kemp, a guy who I knew and was very good friends with for a long time. Mm-hmm. And there are numerous others who have made success in life, whether it be athletics or in case of Meg Whitman, eBay, Carly Fiorina, Hewlett-Packard, and others. And I'm glad because, you know, people look up to Jay Feely. Young people look up to him. They admire him. They admire his success. And he's the kind of guy that, frankly, I'd like to see involved in the political arena. And also, by the way, he's very knowledgeable on the issues of the day, besides my candidacy.
Where is it? What is it? Is Ed Pastor District 1? Is this which one is it? Move into that district because we can get that one too in 2 years.
Well, you know, it's interesting. A good friend of mine, John Runyon, who I played with at Michigan, played for the Philadelphia Eagles for a long time, is now running in the 2nd Congressional District in New Jersey, there in Cherry Hill, against John Adler.
And he's the favorite now.
And his favorite now. You know, a guy that I never thought would get into politics, but I knew he had a heart for people. You know, when he was a player, he wanted to utilize that platform that sports gives you, because right or wrong, people look up to you, and you can utilize that to have an impact on people. He did that when he was playing, and it was a natural progression for him when he got done playing to say, I want to continue to have an impact, and that was the avenue he chose. And I think it's great to see guys who have profited from the sports industry use that to have a positive impact in their community, whether it's through community service or political service whatnot.
There was a guy that got his start, if you might recall, broadcasting baseball games off of the ticker named Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, that's right.
And what's the station in Iowa?
The WHO.
WHO in Iowa. Yeah.
See, this is uplifting. I'm so tired of hearing people, that made it by luck and talent and all of they made into professional sports, and I'm no role model. Don't look up to me. They go out, they live their lives, and whatever happens. This is fairly uplifting to hear. And
the vast majority of players don't feel that way. They know how special it is for them to have that opportunity, and they try to utilize that to have a positive impact, to try to get out there and to influence kids. And you can say something in a very short manner to a child, and that sticks with them for their life. I remember I had a thing from Walter Payton, and he wrote, "Life and athletics require a total effort for success." When I was a kid, I had that on my wall. That always stuck with me, and it was just something, simple. And, whether you're a senator or you're a radio show host or you're a football player, if you utilize that in the right ways, you can have a big impact.
All right.
Well, Jay, what I want to know is what's it like to be in the buffet line with Juice Lutui?
You want to be before him, not after.
I saw I guess it was Dan Bickle's story.
No, but he carries it well, though. That's nearly
396 pounds.
He is a great jovial guy, Samoan guy. And
went to high school right here in Mesa High.
Absolutely. Homegrown, just like Max Hall, our quarterback, from here. What a great story.
That's the next one we wanted to ask you
this
about.
Last week.
Tell us about Max Hall.
He is.
You see, I was a mediocre high school junior varsity football player. Yeah, but you got to remember that.
But
you're
I
idolizing
think you've made
guys.
something of yourself.
But you're excelling as a morning talk host right now. Go for it.
Just
great
tell us
story.
a little bit about it.
No, honestly, I have never been with an undrafted free agent quarterback who has ever played, much less started. In my 10 years in the NFL, if you go back, the last undrafted free agent quarterback to start this early in the first half of the NFL season was back in the 87 strike season. It just doesn't happen. And it's very unlikely for them to make the team, much less ever play. And here he is starting, and he wins his first start against the defending Super Bowl champions. I mean, that's just a phenomenal story. And the fact that he's from here, he's from Phoenix, and a homegrown talent, and a great guy, just a competitor. He kind of looked down upon as he went through the draft because he wasn't that tall. He's just over 6 foot. But there's certain guys that you just can't hold down. They have that spirit, and he's one of those guys.
Mormon mission. So he served his mission. Never lost a game at BYU, right? And I think 32 victories or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think he may have lost a game, but most victories ever in the history of BYU.
And so took a heck of a hit early in the game.
He did. I didn't know if he was going to get up for. Larry Fitzgerald picks him up, and he's just slumped over, and he grabs him, and he fumbled on that play, but one of our offensive linemen recovered it, scored a touchdown. It was a big play, and I'm yelling at Larry. I'm like, hurry up, get him off the sideline so we can kick this extra point so they can't review it.
No, I'm just trying to.
Could I just finally say, isn't it a testimony to the kind of coach you got in Ken Wisenhunt to select him and as a way to recognize that talent?
Yeah, there's not a lot of coaches that have that kind of confidence in their own decision making and that guts to take an undrafted free agent and say, you're going to be my starter, going in against the defending Super Bowl champs. And, Coach Wisenhunt, I've only been around him this year, but I've been tremendously impressed because he doesn't have too many highs or lows. He stays very constant, and that's a great quality to have.
Sort of like you and me, Bill.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No question. Well, you know what? I mean, your coach is a Georgia boy. You know that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's my hometown.
Augusta.
That's my hometown.
When are we going to play? That's what I want to know.
There you go. Now, let me ask the big question here. You guys have been going back and forth here to Michelle. Are you ready to put down that Larry Fitzgerald jersey that you're wearing every Sunday?
It's something that Jay just said. When he said he picked up Max Hall, I was thinking over here, how do I get Larry Fitzgerald to pick me up? and then secondly, because the senator brought up Dan Bickley, his article at Brother Station, right next. The boys are right next door, and they're extra 910. So
Dan's one of the great sports writers in America. He really is.
Bickley and MJ over there. Yeah.
So,
I'd fit that in there.
I'm just going to ask you, Michelle, for the rest of the program, if you'd return your seat back and chair tray to its upright and locked position, just in Babinski. And I got to do this because this has got to be. I mean, I'm sorry you're sitting back there and his back is to you. But I mean, listen, this is your big shot here. Is there anything you want to ask at all? This is the big deal. Hi, Jay.
Shut up. He's a little starstruck.
I don't know what to do with either one of you guys. All right, so we're gonna talk about football and politics, right? Not polarizing at all. That's exactly.
I think, we're talking about Wisnahut. Yeah. Don't you think the 49ers have proven that coaching matters?
I'm thinking so.
Really? Don't you think, Jay? I think Singletary was a great, great athlete.
Well, coaching absolutely matters. There's no question, because you can have a good, talented team, but if you have great coaching, they're going to be great. If you have a good team and you don't have good coaching, then they're not going to live up to those expectations. And, I think he's proven. He's come here to Arizona, a team that has historically struggled. They've made the playoffs the last 2 years, went to the Super Bowl, and there's no stopping this coaching staff. They believe in us, and they believe in the team, and I think that's part of leadership, is raising everybody up to a collective goal, and that's what they do.
And Seattle, a week off helps?
Well, especially for the players. This is our bye week right now, obviously, and I was up in Sedona the last couple of days with my family and my kids, and came down this morning, headed back up. It's nice to get a break and get to see all the beauty that Phoenix has to offer.
Where'd you stay up there?
Best Western.
Yes,
He's a fancy guy.
That's right. No, you know what? I got 4 kids. They got a little cottage there. It was perfect. But
you just got me thinking. What you're talking about coaching, that's what's the matter with this show. Coach sucks.
The co-host is great.
Well, the co-host is great, but Levinsky, the coaching's going to hell around here. All right, let's pause.
Could I make one quick switch here? Look, we got 19 days.
Yes.
19 days.
Well, I'm counting 18. I don't count today.
18 days. Anybody out there who is not early voted or got an absentee ballot, you are passing up an opportunity to be part of a historic election here. In Arizona, what happens in Arizona and the House races will affect who's in the majority in the next, starting next January. This is a very vital and, by the way, I think seismic election. If we Republicans don't start taking a victory lap and tear down the goalposts 18 days ahead of time. Let me get out there and work.
I don't mean this to be a gimme question, but because I've said this on the air a number of times. But I cannot remember a midterm election in my lifetime there's more hinging on it, and the choices are more clear than what's going on right now.
Well, you remember the 1876 election?
No,
excuse me.
I registered. That was you. I registered right after that.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I've never seen an election that has this much impact and is this much as seismic as this one is. Look, I was down in Tucson last Saturday. They had a Tea Party rally down there. 3,000 people showed up. It was very hot in Tucson on Saturday. 3,000 people show up. There's something going on out there that a lot of us understand a lot of, but there's part of it I don't think any of us understand.
This is okay. We're going to get into that in just a minute. John McCain here. It's KFYI. Folks, stay right where you are.
Barry Young, 550 KFYI, KFYI.com.
So baby, don't worry.
Rush, later this morning at 10:06. Barry Young, now on News Talk 550 KFYI.
KFYI.com.
All right, and if you're just joining us here, it's 8:23 from the Cardinals. Dave Feely dragging John McCain all over the state, trying to give him some credibility. Both you're always welcome, and both of you are always welcome. And
Jay's used to coming in the last 5 seconds.
There you go, saving the show.
I hope I don't miss that.
Saving the show. Hey, listen. I hardly know where to start here, but I do want to ask you just, who knows where this is going to get played, because we've got the head of the Democratic National Committee, Tim Kaine, running around saying that he's afraid that the Tea Party people on Election Day in 18 days are going to get inside the polling places and intimidate the good voters.
Well, it probably goes along with Congressman Grijalva's comment to plea to his supporters for help, where he said the Tea Partiers were frightening creatures. It's interesting. For a long time, the liberals and liberal media absolutely dismissed the Tea Partiers as a group of wacko birds, et cetera, and then now they decided to try to give her the Palin treatment, and that's just try to tear them down and disparage them, and but they're out there, they're strong, they're influential, and they are shaping the future of the political landscape in America, and that's just a fact.
Nobody saw this coming. Nobody. No. But, if in retrospect, you look back and you see the anger from last summer, last August.
Has been channeled now into one of the most powerful political forces I've seen in recent history. And yes, they are not channeled completely, but they certainly want a government that is less regulation, lower taxes, stops mortgaging our children's futures, and the passion. Like I said, I've been with several of the Tea Party groups, and there is a depth of passion out there that polls are not capable of gauging.
Did you see any of the Sharon Angle and Harry Reid debate?
She did a good job. She did an excellent job. I thought she did an excellent job, didn't you?
She asked him to man up. Man up. I saw one, and he took offense to this. He thought it was dirty. And she said, listen, on behalf of the voters in Nevada, we want to know, how'd you get so rich on a government salary? Mm-hmm. And because he was trying to depict himself as just a common person. He said he was on a fixed income also. He lives at the Ritz. Yeah. But then she asked him, was that below the belt?
Well, Harry Reid has followed the tradition of the Hawaiian missionaries. He's done well by doing good. There's no doubt that Harry has become a very wealthy man while serving the people of Nevada. How all that happened is certainly not something I have any background on.
Though he has been referred to as land baron. Land baron Harry Reid, yeah.
And this is a guy who said he did not believe that there were any undocumented people in Nevada. Did he say that, Babinski? There were no undocumented people. I thought there were none.
Not in his state.
None in his state.
Yeah. By the way, did you see where, speaking of the Tea Party now, did you see where Sharon Angle raised $14.3 million in the last quarter? And I guarantee you this race in Nevada is going to come down to get out the vote. Harry Reid has a machine that's been there for a long time. And it's all going to come down to who gets out the vote, and I'll bet you that it's extremely close. And the unions are all behind Harry Reid, as you know, and they've got a great machine. So the Tea Partiers and ordinary citizens are really going to have to turn out if we're going to win that race.
Well, does his son Rory help in the gubernatorial race, help him or hurt him in this situation?
He's running so far behind the Sandoval, by the way, Hispanic American, that I don't think it helps him. I'm not sure what everybody knows Harry. It's a small station. Everybody knows him. I'm not sure what affects it. By the way, I was over the other day in New Mexico with a woman who's running for governor over there, Susana Martinez. She's ahead. She's a fantastic woman. District attorney in one of their counties, husband is sheriff, a really great American success story. She's going to win the governorship over there in New Mexico.
So this is deep. Will it last for 2 more years after this?
Depends on what we do.
The Gallup models.
Listen, if we will stop spending, if we'll stop the earmarking, if we will do the things that the Tea Partiers want us to do, and not just Tea Partiers, what the majority of Americans want us to do, and start governing from the center right, and stop this incredible intrusion into the private sector by the federal government, then we'll do fine.
Can you keep the Republicans focused on it, though?
We'd better.
Well, that's so true because it's the same winds of change that you ran into 2 years ago when you were running for president against President Obama. And you looked at after that election and you thought, when will the Republicans ever have a chance again? Have they lost, the Senate and the Congress and control of our government, for the foreseeable future? And yet 2 years later, here we are looking at those same winds of change because the American people didn't like what they did.
Well, we're definitely hoping for change. We're hoping for change.
And as somebody from outside the political spectrum looking at the Tea Party movement, and it wasn't that surprising to me because the spirit of the Tea Party movement goes back to the founding of our country. And that's what our country has been founded upon, that independent spirit that will buck authority and doesn't co-tie to individual politicians, nor to the good of the whole of our country.
So you're gonna have to watch out. We're gonna be watching Sunday football, and you're gonna hear the guy on Fox or CBS. He's gonna come out and he's gonna say, "Well, this is the Tea Party kicker out here." They're gonna. All right, hold on a second. It's KFYI.
The nearly famous Barry Young Show. 550 KFYI. KFYI.com. Sean Hannity this afternoon at 1:06. Now, Barry Young on News Talk 550 KFYI.
KFYI.com.
All right, in the studios from the Cardinals, Jay Feely, who's escorting John McCain around. Well, he gets top. I'm sorry. We can get you here anytime. But John McCain is with us in the studios.
Can we ask Jay what he thinks is going to happen against Seattle a week from Sunday?
All right, hold on a minute. Babinski, pay attention. This is another big one for you. This is one part of the show you'll listen to. All right, a week from now.
Well, if I can shut down my good buddy Leon Washington, the returner, then I think we got a good shot.
Are you getting that, Babinski?
I think hopefully we keep building, and that's what you want to do, whether it's a political campaign or a team. You want to get better every week, and hopefully Max Hall can take a big step from his first game to his second game, and that's such a huge important step for a quarterback, that first game and the uncertainty that comes with starting your first game in the NFL, and I think he'll continue to make big leaps every week, and I think that bodes well for our team.
Okay, all right. Are you getting all that? You got it?
First place, baby.
First place, baby. He says first place. Just give him first place. And stay there. All right, listen, John. Before you get away, I know you guys have got to get out of here soon, but I got to ask you just to comment very quickly. The federal judge in Florida yesterday says that the 20 states that have filed suits on Obamacare, there's enough in that lawsuit to proceed. He said the Democrat. Well, I didn't mean to say Democrat. It's completely wrong for me to do that. The Obama administration's Justice Department, they're using what did he call it? An Alice in Wonderland defense is what he said. Anyway, bottom line is we got one federal judge saying no. I got another one saying proceed.
It's going to end up in the Supreme Court, obviously, but that's good news in my view, given the makeup of the Supreme Court. But you and I have discussed on numerous occasions, where in the Constitution does it say the federal government can force you to buy a product, prescribe what's in that product, and fine you if you don't buy that product? That's what Obamacare is, okay? They are saying that every employer in America has to have a health insurance policy for their employees with the provisions in it that they decide are adequate, and they're going to fine employers if they don't do it. Where in the Constitution is there anything that would remotely resemble that? That's why I think that I've said all along, and you and I have discussed this before on the show, that I think that it has a good chance as a constitutional challenge. Now, whether it will or not, I don't know, but I'm glad to see that at least we got through the first wicket.
Okay, all right. I want to take at least one phone call here.
Sure,
you got headphones over there you can hear? Okay, let me get at least one phone call.
For Jay Feely.
It could be. I don't know. Babinski screening, it could be anything today. Here's Dave in Tempe. Hello, Dave.
Yeah, a couple of questions real quick. I noticed that the RNC isn't supporting some of the candidates that are out there for the Senate as well as the House. It's like they're waiting for something magical to happen with some of these people. I'm thinking of Delaware. And also in our state, we've got some people that actually stand a chance of winning against Pastor and Harry and all the rest of the Democrats in this state. And I'm wondering what kind of campaigning you're doing for these people, and also what is the RNC going to do about some of these situations where they're putting absolutely no effort in?
All right, hey, we're on a tight schedule.
Okay,
John, go.
Just first of all, these are always tough decisions that have to be made, but we are funding the Senatorial Campaign Committee is funding more candidates than any time in the history, and that's because we've gotten more money than any time in history. I've been out night and day working for our candidates, from Gosar in the north to Ruth McClung and Jesse Kelly in the south, to David Schweikert here, Janet Contreras. Every one of our candidates, I want to tell you, I have been working night and day, because I can't be effective in the United States. Let me put it this way. I can be far more effective in the United States Senate if Republicans have a majority in the House. If the Democrats maintain the majority in the House, it does matter what happens in the Senate. I say that as a typical Senate snob. But the fact is, that's a joke. But the fact is that I am in working, and if you will ask David Schweikert, or Jesse Kelly, who I did a teleconference town hall with last night, or Ruth McClung, who I was down in Yuma with day before yesterday, or Paul Gosar, who I was up in Prescott with, any of them, I guarantee you, I and John Kyle are working as hard or harder than we ever have for our candidates at any time before. And one of the reasons is because we've got a great group of candidates. I'm so excited about these candidates. And so, but again, I urge you, Dave, let's work for the next 18 days. Don't take anything for granted. I worry about us paying attention to all these nationwide polls when each campaign gets down to the individual candidates at the end of the day.
What do you think the chances are? I mean, everybody believes that the House is a done deal, but what about the Senate? 10 seats.
I think we've got 8 or 9 right now, and I think we could be up late on election night to see that 10th one. And I guarantee you, one of the people who will stay up the longest will be John McCain, because if we do take those 10 seats, I'll be chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee.
Okay. I did. Yes, okay. All right. So we don't need to say man up, John. You're gonna go grab the committee.
You know, the other thing is that on Wednesday morning, and I hope maybe you and I can chat on Wednesday morning after the election, we'll be pointing at some races and say, what a surprise. I promise you, there will be some surprises that you and I are not predicting right now.
Now, listen, when you were running in the Republican primary, I predicted that it would only be a tiny landslide. I'm predicting a bigger landslide in 18 days.
I'm taking nothing for granted. I'm working hard.
All right, listen, it's always good to see you.
And could I say to Jay, you're a role model to so many young people all over our state that admire the Cardinals, and we appreciate the way you've conducted yourself on and off the field. You're a wonderful family man with 4 young children, and we appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you very much. I don't take that lightly. And I think the state of Arizona is lucky to have a man with such courage, conviction, and somebody who has not only worked in the House and the Senate, but also served our country. It's an honor to have you serving the state that I'm living in.
Well, just beat Seattle in the last 3 seconds, okay?
Listen, I got to
thank you, Governor Felix.
Listen, I don't know I don't know if it's good or bad. Jay, you classed up the show, and we're not accustomed to this kind of class. You know, we appreciate you coming in. And Babinski, quit drooling, for God's sake. Thanks for coming in. Come back again.
Anytime, my pleasure.
All right, it's great to talk to you. You got real football and everything, Michelle.
This is way better than our regular wine and cheeseburger Friday.
It really is, and
better.
You can unstrap your seatbelt now. That's okay too. John, thank you. Great. We'll talk soon before the election again.
Absolutely.
Okay. Stay with us, folks. It's KFYI.